Ethan Chessin is a high school music teacher who teaches choir, music technology, and songwriting at Camas High School, a public high school in Camas, Washington. Since he began leading the choir program, student participation has tripled, and his choirs have been invited to perform alongside professional musicians and groups across the country. His unique approach to music education has earned him national recognition. He was one of 30 teachers in the entire country to be awarded the Music Teachers of Excellence Award by the Country Music Association Foundation and was a finalist for the 2025 Music Educator Grammy Award. One thing that really stood out to me about your teaching is how you incorporate music from a wide range of cultures and traditions. And in another interview, I saw that you mentioned that your goal is to use music to help students encounter the other. I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about what you meant by that and why you think it's important for your students to use music as a way of connecting with different cultures and perspectives.
Music just is such a profound part of what it means to be human as part of a group. And I think that's something that we don't necessarily examine when we do school music. We do school music because it's fun, right? And we do school music because it helps out with football and because it helps out with the pep rallies and because it helps be a part of the community. And I think we think a lot about that. But that's not the only way that students are going to be making music outside of school. There are so many other ways that we can find special parts of our lives through music. Um, and I just love exposing students to these new ways of being, new ways of acting. We did this year a whole year unit on South Asian music, so and specifically Carnatic music from southern India. And so we showed how people use music in dance and how Carnatic rhythms work and how Carnatic melodies work. And it just was a huge world opener for my students. There are so many students at our school, as there are in so many schools around the country, whose culture is not necessarily represented in the curriculum in any other class. And if we can spend a little while and say, hey, now we're doing Jewish music, now we're doing Carnatic music, now we're doing Brazilian music. The students who feel like they kind of have to be a slightly different person in public when they're in this majority mainstream culture in school get to just shine and say, wow, this is something I know about, this is something that speaks to me, that affirms my personhood and my connections to culture and identity, and that is so powerful when that's a part of the school day. And it just lets pockets of joy explode all over the classroom and all over the school.
You've obviously been recognized not only for the success of your choir and your teaching, but also the positive classroom environment you've been able to create for your students. And I feel like that's something that so many teachers strive for, and you've managed to do it so well. So I'm curious, what are the sort of practical things you do to foster that environment in your classroom and in your choir program?
Singing with your one true voice in front of all of your peers who are the most important people in the world to judge you is a really nerve-wracking thing. And I don't expect my students to be able to sing individually for me to be able to give them feedback in front of the whole class in for weeks until there's any sense that we are a team. I know you, you know me. You know him, you know her, we know each other, we know things about each other, we care about each other. We do a question of the day every day. Every single person has a chance to answer one silly little question. What's your favorite kind of noodle, right? That favorite shape of noodle, something like that. We do folk dance Fridays almost every Friday, where I put on some music. I teach the students a simple folk dance, lines or squares or circles or contras, and it's just one of my favorite things because everybody can do it. The moves are simple. You have to dance with this person and that person and the other person. You have to interact in this very managed, prescribed way with so many other people, getting you comfortable in kind of in others close space, but in a way that is safe and involves lots of interactions. I think it's really important that we find ways that we can, shake his hand and shake her hand, and then also just move our bodies, be embodied in our practice of being human.
What has helped in getting students who might not see themselves as musicians or singers, or they don't feel like they're, necessarily that's a strength of theirs to join and feel comfortable and confident in that new environment for them.
I think we should be expanding the world of music in our classrooms. What are my students listening to? What is the music that is in the world? We work with rock bands. We work with like kind of electronic elements and chamber folk musicians. That sounds more like what students have on their Spotify accounts. And students get to see how the music that they love is connected to a real world outlet. It's so much more inviting than we are in tuxedos singing Mendelssohn, which again, I love Mendelssohn, I love tuxedos, but we, for in terms of who's already in the room and who's not in the room, anything we can do to show that music is a part of life for more than just the people who have already chosen the little box that we think that music is inside of helps bring people in the room.